Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the My Tech Story Africa podcast, where we explore the captivating narratives that are shaping the African tech scene. My name is Alice Kanjejo, your lovely host, and today's guest is Michael Munavu, a tech trailblazer with an unconventional entry into the industry. Starting off in telecommunications and information engineering, Michael's journey took a magical turn when his fascination with coding and technology blossomed through self-guided learning.
When I was coming up in tech, I always wanted to be a master. I always wanted to be master something like a baby. But I've come to understand that you always have to stay a student of the game. Like if you get to a point where you know everything, like what's the point of all that?
Key to his story is his collaborative spirit that birthed an enduring partnership with Kim Tai, a companion from high school and our next guest on this podcast. This connection proved essential as they crossed paths again at Moringa School, where they navigated the complexities of the tech field together, highlighting the importance of strategic alliances. Moringa School is a multidisciplinary learning accelerator committed to closing the skills gap in Africa's job market by delivering transformative tech-based learning to high-potential job seekers, and on graduation connecting them to local and international employers who desire high-quality tech talent. Hackathons also emerged as a central theme, where Michael's impressive track record of over 10 victories showcases the value in exuding confidence and the thrill of crafting impactful products. The conversation concludes with Michael's passion for product development, exemplified in his current project, an innovative patient management system with a health data focus. Additionally, a unique concept to introduce a song request system tailored for events and club services, infusing a layer of creativity and forward thinking into his endeavors and the ever-changing world of technology. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I absolutely enjoyed listening to Michael's story from being a magician to becoming the product maverick that he is. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the My Tech Story Africa podcast. Today, I am joined with another special guest, as always. Today, we are joined by Michael, but I'll give him the opportunity to introduce himself before we get into his story. So, Michael, introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello, my name is Michael Munavu. I'm a software developer, 3 years experience, currently working at Pudi, a field startup founder. I've had, let's say, one field startup and one currently struggling startup. But wow. I'm a creative. I love building products. That's what got me here.
It's like you are really prepared with that intro. You just went straight into it. No, I like that, and I like the honesty of how you've even just started your intro and your product journey. And it's interesting because it's only one other guest. His name is Evans Munene from the Chief Technical Officer of Chums, and he came and talked about I had one failed startup and one that is still going. So I really like that honesty. And I think based on what you've said, I'm interested to know where your journey begins in not only tech, but did you always have an interest in tech from the time you were younger?
So I went to school in a primary school called Stepping Stones. I had a computer science teacher called Teacher Solomon. I had a very poor handwriting. He was also an English teacher, so he hated me my whole life. So I never really understood computer at all. I never had any interest in computer. Finished there, I went to my high school, Kabarak, the same high school that the person before me was in. So there we also had to do computer studies for Form 1 only. So after Form 1, you're supposed to choose, let's say, specialize in the subjects that you want to choose. So I was doing computer science, agriculture, and business, I believe. Funnily enough, I never got above 70%.
Sorry, before you were doing computer studies, agriculture, and
we're doing 12 subjects in total.
In high school?
The first Form 1.
Before you okay.
Yeah, so how the structure was in Kabarak is that in Form 1 you're doing 12 subjects, then you move on to 8. So in Form 1 you're kind of just getting a feel of everything. It's like going to a party and talking to every girl, then you have to go in at the end of the night. so it was exactly like that. So in Form 1 I was talking to everyone. So I did computer studies, I did agriculture and business. computer studies, funnily enough, I never got above 70%. Or even 60.
I don't know why you're saying it's like in high school, even 40 was a win. You're saying like
Kabarak
70%
is different.
was okay.
Kabarak is
Fair.
different.
It's the institution.
Kabarak is different. Kabarak is different. So, and it was basic things like, was I stupid? Maybe I was stupid. But yes, I never got above 60 or 70%. So I dropped computer science, did agriculture. So I finished Form 4. After that, I did a short course at a college somewhere around here. It's called IIHT, Indian Institute of Hardware Technology.
Before you even get too far into that, what was that transition from high school and then doing this course? Was it your parents saying you need to fill your time?
Yeah, it was mostly my parents. I think they had it from a radio station called Radio Omini. My mother is a staunch Catholic, so Radio Omini wakisema mwende JKUAT, mtenda JKUAT nyote. So Radio Omini, I don't know how IHT pushed to make sure that they're being advertised on Radio Omini, but my mom was convinced Radio Omini will make me a million. IHT will make me a millionaire. So I went to that school. I did 3 months there.
What did you study there?
We were doing a lot of harder things, but also at that time I was very uninterested. I was actually just loving the fact that like I was given fare to come from Thika to Nairobi every day, coming to meet new people.
Yes.
To be honest, the only thing I left IHT with was a girlfriend. That's all. If I'm being really honest, I didn't consume any knowledge at all. I don't think it's anything that's helped me.
At that time, were you also just having an ambition to be anybody in like any industry that you had a particular interest in? Because clearly you were disinterested at that time.
Well, in high school, I was doing articles for, let's say you have school games. So they're really big in our schools. In our school, you'd find even there's a Premier League game going on, but people would rather go watch for West versus for South. So I was big on writing these big articles. I remember one, so we had a tradition where Form 4s, as you were coming to finish school, we had like a passing the torch ceremony. So it's like Form 4s versus Form 3s. And it was right before the KCSE period, and I did this big thing. I paid an artist to draw a dog, and because as Form 4s were called the lions, and I remember that time it was the Gengeton time, so there was a line unataka lion ama kitten. So I had this big lion and some kittens there, so now we're calling the Form 3 the kittens. So now we're calling the Form 3 the kittens. So I had this, it was like it was so much work. Even like I remember I was called at the parade and I was like, who is this Form 4 who has this much time to do all this just before KCSE. So I had this dream of, let's say, getting into sports journalism.
Wow.
But just as a freelancer, like I never wanted to do it in a professional space, just as an independent sports journalist, because I was very interested in sports and football. But my mother wanted me to be a doctor. So even when I was applying for the courses, nilimweka tu doctor opportunity just to make her happy.
Wow.
But I was good in maths and physics, so I knew I'd had to do some sort of engineering. Yeah. So
you see, the way you're sounding, it sounds like you are, lack of a better word, a menace in high school.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a, you know, the popular guys in high school who are just terrorizing everybody.
Yeah. Well, kinda. I swear in high school, let's say in Kabarak, they teach you to be you express yourself so much and so well. Like it's taught me a lot. Also from the interview you just had, you can see that, you know, these people from that school, they really know how to express themselves.
Yes.
So it's just at that time they were a bit serious. Form 4 is almost coming to an end, and you're expressing yourself in the most self-explanatory way, which was not very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Aya, now you're done with Kabarak. You've gone to the institution. You've left with your girlfriend. What was next?
What was next was my sister asked her friend, yeah. So akamuuliza, which course should my brother do? Which one will make him rich? And
the goal was the money always.
Goal was the money, just the bag. So my sister was told telecommunication and information engineering is really booming. Do it. So that's what I applied for, and luckily that's what I got. So
sorry, throughout this journey, all I'm hearing is that your mom made you do this, so you ended up doing that, and then now it's your sister making this decision for you. Was that something you wanted them to make that decision for you, or did you still want to pursue this post-journalism or your own kind of path? Like, I'm trying to understand where you were in this time when people were making the decisions for you.
I'd say I wasn't sure what I wanted to be. It was going with the flow. So whichever, if I got into mechanical engineering, I'd probably do mechanical engineering. Because to me, it was more of this courses, it was not a passion thing. It was like school all over again. Like, you'll read for it, you'll pass, move on to the next thing. So it wasn't a passion-driven decision for me. I wish it was, but to be honest, it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, so yes, you're now doing this. Your sisters said you do this, and now you're pursuing it. What was that like?
That was fun. First year was I was a joke in first year, but just before first year, I believe there was the COVID period. So in the COVID period, I picked up a skill or a hobby called for magic. So I was doing magic tricks and card tricks. Yeah, and I was very serious with it. I've actually been on TV twice because of it. So I was
tricks. You should have brought something here to show our audience something.
I forgot. It's actually like tech. So actually, I think in a way you'll see that my practicing magic helped me in tech.
You'll just have to send us a video of something you put for our audience to see what the visual representation of this.
Yeah. So I was doing card tricks, and card tricks is sort of like tech. In a way that card tricks is more about techniques. So you can practice one technique for 6 months, but with that one technique you can do 1,000 tricks. So tech is just like that. You can practice styling this thing in this way, but you can then improvise it to build 100 sites or 1,000,000 sites. So I believe that period taught me or gave me lessons that I'm using right now. So my journey in first year was I was a joker. Like, I wasn't serious at all. I wasn't as serious with school. Then take me exam, you just study everything and you pass. Yeah. So that was my life. That was my life in first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then second year, did you now feel, okay, now we need to get serious, or was it the same? COVID. Yes. So did you have to do uni from home?
Yes, so we had to do uni from home, which was just worse. Online classes were just worse. So that didn't help at all. But now, I believe that period was when I actually joined Moringa for the first time. I joined Moringa and dropped out and joined again. But I believe I joined Moringa either 2021 or 2022. Before you go any further, sorry, when could you just remind me what the course you were pursuing before you joined Moringa was and where that was? Okay, so I was doing telecommunication and information engineering at JCOT. Okay. Currently pursuing it. Waiting to get very rich. Okay. Okay, sawa. So then you were doing that, and then how come in the middle of your journey you still decided to apply for Moringa at the same time? And were you going to be able to handle both? Well, I believe that time was during the period where university wasn't as strict on us because, online classes, it was a very big shift for us. So, so I had this friend in university called Kimutai. So he was really exploring tech, and he convinced me to join Moringa, or he convinced us to join Moringa. So he joined Moringa. At that time, Moringa had prep courses and core courses. So prep was like the beginner part of it, and core was a kind of serious bit of it. I believe prep was going for 5 weeks. That time you're doing very basic things. But I think also in a way my love for tech grew in that part because I built a small pizza delivery system that was very stupid now looking back at it, but at that moment it gave me so much pride, and I remember posting it everywhere. It's your own work and it's something you're proud of. Exactly. So we did that for five weeks, but after that I think now school got a bit serious, so we dropped off Moringa. And during now I think second year it was very, very tough to go back into tech. I believe for me I needed structure. That's something I'm usually self-aware about. I need structure in my life to go to the next level. So I didn't have the structure that Moringa had provided prior to school being serious. So even my tech skills dropped off so much. Yeah, so that was the whole second year bit. After that, we decided we needed more structure in our life. So Kimutai and me, we saw this opportunity at another boot camp called Microverse. So it's a remote boot camp, global. It offers teaching for students in Africa, everywhere around the world. But now the hard bit about it was that it had 2 classes. So the first, let's say 2 sessions. So the first one was during the whole day for our African time. So that will run from 10 to 5. And the other one will run from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Wow.
So I remember we were sitting with Kimutai and we were asking ourselves, can we be able to manage the daytime with university as well? And they said, hell no, there's no way we can do that. So you know what? We'll kill ourselves for a whole year, do the nighttime. So we had told ourselves we'll do 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. He got in a month earlier than I did.
Was this every day, Monday to Friday? Or was
yes, it's actually Monday to Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So he got in earlier than me, a month earlier. He did it for a week and dropped off. Yeah.
That was a full day of intensity. You're in school and then you're also doing this.
Yeah. We give ourselves that type of, like, it's only 1 year of kuteseka and you'll be rich your whole entire life. So yes, that's how we're lying to ourselves. So we tried it for a week and it didn't work out. But now I got in a month earlier and he rejoined me as well, so I convinced him to rejoin. And now we're doing the day course. So we're doing it together with university. And we did that for 7 months, I believe. That was a very hard 7 months. As we were on the journey to completing it, we also thought about rejoining Moringa and finishing off the Moringa course as well.
So now you're really getting into this tech thing.
Exactly, but still 5 months in at Microverse, we weren't really good and committed to it. Like we're just doing it to complete the bootcamp, say we did have the certificate, move on to the next thing. We're treating it as school. And I think that's one thing people who are into this boot camps need to realize, like, it's not high school, like you're reading to pass an exam then you forget about it. So that's one thing I've seen is the downfall for so many people, and it was almost a downfall for us.
Why is that the downfall of people?
Because like you need tech in the things I learned in physics, like Archimedes law, I don't honestly need that, you know. But the things you learn in tech first week, second week, you'll definitely need them. So if you just read for them, study for them, pass a test, pass an exam, move on,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't really work. Yeah. So I believe also when it came to Moringa, that also moved us from, in a way, having that mindset, because we were also exposed to these technologies already, and most of our TMs realized that, and they pushed us to be able to teach our peers. So now we had to understand these technologies better. Yeah. So coming back to Moringa, I'd say made us fall in love with tech now better, because now you're able to teach people, at least you're ahead of people, so you can be able to guide them in certain ways.
Would you say that the structure that they had built was definitely something that helped you get to be more streamlined and pursue this now new passion for tech?
Yes, for sure. Moringa also now had this new project-based model that you are, let's say, building a project after every module. So if you're doing HTML, CSS, build a project. If you're doing React, build a project. Rails, build a project. And I believe now that in the real world, it's project-based. It's not notes or
of course.
Yeah, so it's project-based. So I believe now they moved to doing more projects, and I think that structure really helped me understand tech better. Yes. Okay.
I'm really enjoying this conversation because your journey has been quite something. You started mentioning of how, at the beginning, you really didn't know what you wanted to pursue. Other people are making decisions for you, but then eventually you made the decision for yourself after persuasion, of course, from Kim Tai to pursue this thing. And I think what people underestimate is the impact that friendships, but also other people may have to push you to where you want to be. And I think that's very crucial, especially for friendships or the people that you keep around you, is that do they drive you to be a better version of yourself, or make something out of who you are and take you holistically to and make you who you are today. So I'm really what's the word for it? I think it was very beautiful to just hear that evolution of your journey to now becoming a bit more streamlined, and especially the impacts that an institution like Moringa has had in your life. So that's very interesting. And then now to take you back to the conversation, you now have real-time projects that you have to build, and now you're building your skills from this experience. What was after that? What came after that?
So what came after that was we lied to ourselves that we were really good, that we started now trying to apply for hackathons. So Kipro teachers, Kimutai also started now applying for hackathon. He got one into a company called Value Chain Factory. So they had a hackathon that they hosted. Now, when we were applying for this hackathon, we didn't really know whether it's like one person applying, then you can add teammates, then everyone goes.
Yeah.
But as they later made us understand, everyone had to apply. So you might be in the same team, but all of you have to apply.
You have to apply.
So I remember the day we had our first hackathon, we had a cut that day. And we weren't sure because Kim had applied and I hadn't applied. He had just added me as a teammate. So I remember now calling that woman who's let's say the PR person at Value Chain, and I'm begging her literally. I'm on my knees, I'm telling her, please, let me just come. Like someone might feel shop. Let me just take her place. And they're like, okay, you can just come, but we only had merchandise for 60 people, so don't feel bad if you left out me. I'm like, that's a list of my orders. I just want to come and
be part of this.
I just want to be part of this. So yeah, so we missed that cut for our first hackathon. That's where we had, let's say, our first startup. So during those 3 days, we came up with a patient management system that allows you to essentially have all your data in a QR code that can then be embedded in something like a ring or a chain. So in any case, if you fall down and you have a ring that is an NFC ring, someone can just... NFC is like, think of, it's called near field communication. So that means, for example, a ring like this, someone can be able to scan it and let's say go to a certain website. Yes. So we had the idea of having all the information in an online cloud. Then someone can just scan this ring, go there, see if you are sick, which pre-existing conditions you have. So that was our first kind of startup, and we won that hackathon.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
What was that feeling of winning that hackathon? After going through that begging process, and then now you won this hackathon.
Remember when I said the money? So finally that pot of gold was there. Yeah. But yes, it was. I honestly don't remember feeling like that. I felt like that very few times. The feeling after we won our first hackathon, because that was just, it was hell. Those 3 days were hell. So going through that was the like you made the right decision getting into
that
tech.
Affirmation that yes, this is definitely like something that we're working on.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, before you continue, had you graduated from uni at this time or not? Or
I'm still in fourth year.
You are in fourth year at this time.
Currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, currently. Okay.
Yes, I'm currently in fourth year. So I believe that was around third year or late second year. So out of our first hackathon, then just that just give us mad confidence. So we started applying for hackathon, winning hackathons. So I believe we've currently won around 10 hackathons in that space from that time to this time, just by lying to ourselves that we're actually
good at something. I am a strong believer of fake confidence, by the way. Even if you don't have it, you need to look and have the aura of someone who does, because that's sense of confidence really takes you places. You need to really be very, what's the word for it?
Delulu.
You need to be very delulu. You need to be very delusional about what kind of impact and success you can achieve, because that's the only way that you can get to anywhere, especially when you're starting a product or something that you're introducing to the world. Even this podcast, you're the only one who really sees the true vision. Even when you're explaining it to someone on something fresh and new, they really can't see it because it's not there. But if you really truly believe in your own delusion and really go with it, learn as you go, fail if you need to fail, then 100% I'm always an advocate for that. So a lesson that you can take away from here is, even if you don't have the confidence, you need to fake it till you make it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so you've won over 10 hackathons. Could you just name some of them so that our audience can know?
We've won, let's say, the KNBS hackathon. So that was a big hackathon for our team personally, because we came up with now a different solution. Let's say that's the idea that's still kind of awake. So that's called Nche. So in Nche, we are providing advisory for farmers. So you can just go into the system, say that you're in Nairobi, this place. We're giving you soil data for that place, telling you which crops do well in certain locations. So that was an idea that we came up with Kimutai as well. And that was also a funny story, because so also for the hackathon, we had to send applications. So we sent our application, and just the day before the hackathon, they sent us an email, told us, unfortunately, umekataliwa, don't come. Please don't come. We only have space for 15 people. Msijaribu kuja. We had worked on building that product for a whole week. So and I told myself, like what are we risking? We're only risking like 300 bob from Thika to that place. So we shamelessly went to that place and we told them we didn't get any email. I told them first. I honestly didn't get any email. I told them we're from Webuye. We've come by bus. We didn't have internet. I honestly told that person that story. And I remember even having a meeting. So even the head of PR called me and they were like, sorry, we are so sorry. We thought you had sent it. Sorry for the inconvenience. Of course,
Wow.
I forgive you. But never repeat.
Usirepeat.
So yes, so we got into that hackathon and we won that hackathon.
And you
so
won
really
the
funny.
hackathon.
But the funny thing is that also the guy who I was telling I'm from Obuye like came because of the 3D hackathon. Second day I was like, that's all in the but like make it worth it, you know.
Make it worth it.
Yeah. So that was also
you
fun.
really just I what I'm really enjoying about this story is that drive and willingness to create opportunities for yourself, even if the opportunities are not there. Like we are here. We are doing it and winning it. I think is the biggest, like I told you, like
kinda
that kind of in your face. Like yes, we've done this and we've won this. So I'm really enjoying that part of your drive and ambition. I think before we move any further, it seems like your journey with Kim Tai has been quite something, and you kept having him as your partner throughout this journey. A bit of a personal question, but what made you believe that this is the person that you want to keep pursuing these ventures with, or just keep working with him in general?
Well, we're both delusional in a good way. And we are both, I believe we both have the same mindset. So I was on another podcast the other day and I was telling people how...
we don't mention other podcasts here.
So yes, I was having a conversation with a friend and I was telling them how sometimes I don't charge for work. If it's a project that will make me go to the next level, I'll do it for free. And you're both with that mindset. So sometimes you have this beautiful project and you're like, bro, let's push this and do it. And we're like, we're looking for someone who's willing to do it for free, and there's no one who's kind of willing to do it for free. So we are that, like we push, and sometimes you don't have to do it for the money. So you're just pushing so that you get better at something. Level. Yes. So we both have the same mindsets in a way. Mm-hmm. So that's really what made me stick with him this whole journey.
Okay. All right. That's very nice to hear. And he's also heard you. You also need to say some nice words to him about him. Okay. So now you've gone through this hackathons process and it's been a beautiful journey. You've won and over 10 of them, if I'm not wrong, about 10 of them. So where does that lead you to where you are today, basically?
So what that led me to is loving products so much. So I've been able to sit in rooms where I've had the brightest of ideas. Mostly, there's an opportunity that Moringa actually sent to me about, I'd say 2 months ago. So it was a competition called Code Cash Crop. It's a Nigerian company called Apex. Mm-hmm. So they had a competition here in Kenya and in Nigeria. So Moringa actually sent me that offer. I applied and I managed to win the Kenyan one, go to Nigeria. Wow. And I pitched there and also won there. But sitting in those rooms and listening to how different people in different countries think about tech was very interesting. For example, Nigeria, their internet penetration is very low compared to Kenya. So you'll find most of the ideas are USSD based, as opposed to Kenya. Of course,
there's a lot of fintechs.
Exactly, that are USSD based. As opposed to Kenya, you have many web and application systems. So I believe now seeing the different styles that people design their products has really taught me a lot. Being in these rooms where people are building things out of thin air has taught me a lot about products and building products. So being here, I believe having all these experiences has taught me to love products. I sometimes I just love staying a whole weekend at home building out a product. That keeps me sane in a way. So I believe that's the biggest thing I've learned from all these experiences.
And where do you see yourself in a couple of years with all this acquired experience that you've had And what product are you now? Is the one that you mentioned, the one that you're is it the one that you're currently really pushing for? And basically, this is an opportunity for you to also plug yourself, see whether there's any opportunities that can open for you through this platform, and so on and so forth.
So with Minche, we currently have a grant, so we are just waiting on it so we can just start with the data collection. The data collection part of it will be the health part of it. But if you get the right data, because you are providing advisory to people, it's like providing advisory to people and you have no database of advice.
You have to have a database.
Exactly. So that's a health part of it. But we hope to partner with a couple of companies, Dalberg Research, who can really help us with all this data, build out an MVP and try it. If it fails, it fails. Mm-hmm. That's something I've known makes me happy in tech. I recently built a ticketing system for an event that was held here in Westlands, and I believe that was the one time in tech that I felt really, really nice. Like, didn't even pay as much, but seeing people actually come to an event because of you, because of the system you built. Like, someone is coming with a QR code that you coded from scratch. Like, that just it keeps me sane, because it's a hell of a journey. So you have to have these things that keep you grounded and keep you sane. I'm currently building a couple of ideas. So I have one that is really interesting. So I want to build a system where, for example, if you're at a club or an event, and let's say you've come from a graduation and you're really happy, and the DJ is playing sad songs, and you really want him to play happy songs, and ni wale DJ vichwa ngumu. So if you go to him, mwambie, please play this song for me, atakwambia zi.
No.
So what you're having is a DJ will just have a QR code at the back of the laptop. You can scan it and you can
add a song to the lineup.
Add a song request. So you can now pay for it in a way. So instead of now going to the DJ and pay $100, you can just pay for it, send him something, and they're now in queues. So someone who's paid 200 will be at the top, someone who's paid 100 will be bottom. So DJs can get paid and you can get happy. So that's something that I'm currently exploring.
Oh, that's such a lovely thing. And I'm just... You seem like you and your teammate Kim Tai are a ball full of ideas, and you're always just pushing yourselves over the edge to really try and push yourselves. And I strongly believe that with that drive that you guys have, it's definitely going to take you places that you are yet to see or even think about. And I think my next question, just to help wrap up this conversation, is throughout this journey, not once have I heard you talk about being hired for your expertise. It's more of you trying to build products for yourself, or through hackathons, or looking for funding for your own product. So do you have that? Has that ever crossed your mind? With the expertise that you have, you can easily get integrated into a company. But is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, I've been hired twice. The first company that hired me was GS1 Kenya, which taught me a lot. It was 3 months of hell, but then the best times. So I got into a new tech stack that now allows me to do so much more in 3 months. After that, now I'm currently at Podi. So that's the company I'm in. So it's Podi Consultants. It's a company based in Kisumu. We do consultancy work. So it's almost the same idea, because we are building products for people. Yeah. So that's where I'm currently at.
Okay. Wow. It's been very interesting to hear about your journey, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you and your teammate, who we'll be hearing from in the next episode, or in this episode. We're still trying to figure out. Maybe let me rephrase that. And we'll hear from him soon. I think to wrap up the episode, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions that I normally ask my guests at the end of every episode. So what's one word to describe the journey to get to where you are today?
Relentless.
Why?
We've had to force our way through so many barriers that we've had. That's what got us here. Relentless. We've been relentless in our pursuit for trying to be good. Not even being good, trying to be good.
Trying to be good.
Yes.
Would you say you're good now?
No, actually, that's something I learned. When I was coming up in tech, I always wanted to be a master. I always wanted to master something like a baby. But I've come to understand that you always have to stay a student of the game. Like, if you get to a point where you know everything, like, what's the point of all that? So I don't think I'm good. I think I try to be good, but I want to remain a student of the game. Every day I'm learning something new, and that's only that I'll try to achieve excellence and mastery.
I love that response. And if you have, do you have any regrets or things that you wish you did differently throughout your journey?
I wish I started earlier. But
what is it with engineers and like that's a response that's very common here?
It's because like I'm thinking that time I was really into magic. Like if I put half as much effort as I did in tech, I'd be so far ahead.
Okay, yeah.
But not really, you know the quote of the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. Yeah. The second best time is now. So I don't have any regrets. Plus, the reason I usually say that is because it's usually kind of fun when you do something and it's a 19-year-old boy invented instead of a 21-year, like the teen usually makes it a little bit spicier. So yeah, in a way I kind of wish I started early, but it's all good.
It's all good. I still think things have worked out in your favor. And the last question I have for you is, do you have any advice that you can give to someone who's looking to get to where you are today?
Always remain a student and you'll get to where you think I am today.
Ooh, okay. Thank you so much. I have thoroughly enjoyed this episode and this conversation, and I wish you nothing but the best throughout your journey as you keep growing, and we shall be having you back about a couple of years later to hear how much you've progressed.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
Okay, so guys, as you've heard, this has been one of the most interesting stories that I've had on My Tech Story Africa. If you've enjoyed this conversation, now is the time for you to subscribe from wherever you're listening from. If you're on YouTube, we also have episodes on the audio listening platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of the major listening platforms. And if you're on the listening platforms, we also have visuals on YouTube. And make sure that you subscribe. It's absolutely free, and it lets the My Tech Story Africa community grow and get this kind of stories out there to inspire, to help people grow in their own personal tech journeys. Make sure that you also join the MTS community through our website. You can join us and you can have the latest news in tech across the African continent, as well as the latest news into what's happening on the My Tech Story Africa platform. My name is Alice Kanjejo, your lovely host, and I shall see you in the next episode.